Hello, everyone. This is Chala, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert, coming to you with another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. Look at all the Christmas decorations here in my tiny little condo. It's so much fun. I thought I would have my Tuesday Tea Times from now on in December until, well, I won't even be here. I'll be probably doing it from somewhere else if I am doing it. But for now, we have the Christmas spirit and everyone's wishing each other happy holidays. And we're celebrating. I'm going to be traveling, taking my new dream car on the road trip to my parents and to my sister. So it's going to be fun. Today, I thought I would do a little segment on how to grow 75% of sales in 1 year, because that's what I did. My year end is October, end of October. So my team and I have been working on our numbers and all the, tax planning in Canada that happens. So to minimize my taxes, because we pay way more taxes than you guys in the States. So all the numbers have come in, and the numbers have come in, and the numbers are 75% higher than last year, which is amazing. I didn't realize that, obviously. I mean, I knew things were good, but I didn't realize how good they were. So I reflected on, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And I thought I'd share it with you in case you wanted that to happen. And because I want it to happen, I want it to grow again another 75%. So how did it happen? Why did it happen? And can you repeat that? Can I repeat that? So here are some learnings. So one of the big learnings is, of course, you don't want to do this, but the first thing to do is shrink in the pandemic. So that's what happened to me. Of course, I couldn't travel. I couldn't go to the places that I used to go. A lot of the business had already come back because I had learned to do the things that I'm going to share with you that I learned, but I got better at them and I perfected them. So this year I'm even able to grow off of what already came back. So tip number one is go through a pandemic and shrink so that you can have a big growth the next year. But in all seriousness, the true ways of growing are, as I'm going to talk to you about. One of the biggest ones was port my funnels. So a funnel is a way that you reach your customers, meaning what is their decision tree? So it starts from reaching out from one place, then they look you up, then they want to talk to you, then they consider working with you, and then they ask you to work with them. So that's called a funnel. And it can be any number of ways that they see you or become aware of you. Basically, a funnel is just how they become aware of you, to all the way to how they engage with you. And my funnels were speaking on stages. And now what I realized is those people are now gathering online, and I had to figure out how to get to them online. And of course, I'm going to talk about that. So job number one was to port my funnels. Job number two was to invest in new skills. So I had no clue how to do any kind of how to set up funnels online. And I tried at the very beginning, I tried, the Russell Brunson, the 30,000 clicks and the 30,000 different emails and landing pages and all of that stuff. For my kind of business, which is really boutique, meaning it costs a lot. It's high level, it's high touch. It didn't work. It didn't convert from, when I used to convert from speaking on stage, where I was building trust and people could see me and people could, hear my message and people could ask me questions, and then they could actually meet with me face to face. And then they made the decision to hire me within a very quick, short amount of time. Whereas I lost all of that trust online. So I had to hire a lot of coaches and a lot of other businesses to teach me how to do that. And one of the things that I learned was how to sell on LinkedIn. Another was I learned how to sell on live streams. Another was I learned to do regular live casts. I learned to do podcasts, but how to actually sell while doing podcasts. So these are all from the first day of the pandemic. I started paying people and hiring coaches to teach me all this stuff. And now I'm teaching others, and I'm growing my business by 75% a year. Another thing that I had to do to grow my business 75% was to even get more clear on who I was helping and what problem I was solving for them. So once I got really, really, really clear on the exact group, I could tell my automated systems who to target online, who to filter, what words to find, and then what specific words to use in my message to invite them to an event that I'm doing, which is an executive roundtable. So that has had such a huge, huge influx of interest and meetings and ROI that it's made it even so much more important to have a super niche in this climate. Because if you're generic, everybody, like, think about all the people that were like me who had no clue or interest in being online, and now they were forced to learn. So the traffic online and the inbound and the outbound and every kind of targeting and messaging and marketing has like grown like hundreds of percent. So if you're in that boat and you're still not super niched with your messaging, that is the time to look at specifically focusing in on and niching in on what you do and who you help. I cannot stress it enough. And I myself am living proof that that is still true to this day. All right. Of course, the other thing that I learned is get more visible. Let me have a sip of my tea because it's Tuesday. My trainer would be so proud. I haven't had coffee in like 4 years and I don't miss it. She even had like tips on how to make fake coffee. And I was like, really not needed. Okay. So get more visible. How do I get more visible? At the beginning of the pandemic, I tried every different social media channel. So I tried, the Facebook, the Instagram, and I actually paid for teams to actually go on there to engage, to have content. And now all of that is to a bare minimum, but I've focused on LinkedIn and I am visible on most platforms, but mostly on LinkedIn. And my visibility is regular. So I have always had a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, and I'm pretty religious about that. Even when I go on vacation, I pre-post it. And then, it's scheduled to drop when I'm lying under the sun baking and sun tanning or sunburning in my case. So I've always had that, but now it's kicked it up a notch. The Tuesday tea time with Chala is something that I do no matter if I'm, busy or if I do it at a different time. We first tried to play with, okay, we'll only do it at 3:30, but it didn't work out, but it didn't really matter because very few people are actually engaging live, but most people are watching it afterwards because the title has, or the topic is of interest to them, or they're my client and they want to see what else I want to talk about, what's going on with me. So it's consistency, right? Like visibility is great, but it's consistency. Then of course, virtual events. I've had consistent virtual events that are going on. I've had virtual master classes. I've had virtual presentations. And what I'm, doing now is virtual executive roundtables, which is, reaching out to people that I've never met online and having an executive roundtable that actually has something to do with a very, very, very specific problem that I know that they're struggling with, but it's not the whole problem. It's just one facet of the problem, and it's an expensive problem. So I'm the one who's fixing it, and I invite them to come in and talk to 8 other people like them, or 7 other, because it's total 8 of them, in a private and closed door setting virtually, to be able to get FaceTime with them. So that's another way that's been working. Of course, I've been speaking virtually, and now with travel restrictions are kind of easing between Canada and the US, and I'm starting to feel more comfortable with it. I'm happy to, step up my game to go in person if they are having in person, but there are so many conferences that I used to speak at that are still unsure about whether they're going to have in person or a hybrid. They're so conflicted. And in fact, I just got an email from one of the largest digital marketing conferences in Canada, and I have attended year after year, and they're so tentative. They've dropped their prices so much, and they're hybrid, but they're giving discount after discount after discount for people to come back, because at least here in Canada, people are not coming back to the event space. So just I've been more visible, even though I've been stuck at home, sitting, in my couch, on my couch, at my desk, but I've been more visible than I have ever been in my career, except when I used to go on stage. And even then, that was just, once every month. And here, I'm doing stuff every week, and I'm doing multiple stuff every week. And the key is consistency, you guys. Okay. So the last piece is the most important piece of how I grew 75% in 1 year, because truth be told, at the beginning of the year, I had no speaking prospects, not even virtually. I didn't know where any of the clients were going to come from. I had no established funnels, no real plan except to consistently keep doing everything that I've been doing over and over, and just tweaking them and perfecting them, and finally, hitting the ground running with a rinse and repeatable model in this new reality for me. But through that, mindset was so important, because I could have taken stock too early and said, this isn't working, Chala. It's never going to work until you go back to the old way of doing things and the borders are fully, opened. Then it's not going to work for you. But it's not true. Even sitting in my own home, not even leaving to go to any local events, I've been able to generate the same kind of income, and more, versus before the pandemic. So that's why mindset is so important. So some of the daily stuff that I do, and again, it's just like brushing your teeth, right? Mindset is like, you can't just do it and it's done. It's always in the moment. It's never in the past or the future. It's always in the moment. And you have to be, I learned how to manage my thoughts in the moment, and some stuff actually helps. So, I've always, I'll say, since the last 3-4 years, I've kept a gratitude journal with varying degrees of faithfulness. Of, sometimes I feel like writing, other times I've been like, I would get up early to write in it. So, but I've had some form of gratitude practice. The other is, and I'm struggling with this, and I've taken courses to do this, but it's meditation. And I only do, like, I have taken courses where they encourage you to do 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours a day. I'm trying to do just 15 to 20 minutes a day, just so I can rest my thoughts, so I can stop the thoughts. And I know that for those of you in the courses that I took, and those of you who actually are good meditators, who are successful at completely feeling that detached feeling, even just for 1 minute during the day, it's not. I haven't experienced that. I'm so sad to say, and ashamed to say, ever, because my mind is always so busy. So I do know that when you set up a practice of having a dedicated time, space, corner, music, ambiance, the candles, the clothes, the whatever, the blankets, it's, same time, same place kind of thing, actually helps you get into the prepave you into that, to get into that detached headspace. But like, my condo is so small, I haven't, and maybe it's an excuse, but I haven't had that chance to do that, or I haven't really found a place to do that. And the chair I started doing that was so uncomfortable. It's just, I guess it's excuses, but no. So meditation, even though I haven't been able to really get to where I'd like, I've been doing it. I've been trying it consistently anyway. Now, one of the other tricks that I learned, and this is all from the Esther Hicks Abraham. They've written a whole set of books about the law of attraction, and I got onto them and have been sort of listening to them nonstop, especially when I'm feeling down about the business, worried that I haven't gotten a new client, worried about the borders not opening, worried about Logan, just worried about, things in general. What I've learned is that when one thought, whether it's negative or positive, gains momentum, meaning it joins another thought like it, and then speeds up in joining more thoughts like it in only 17 seconds. So let me just take a sip. This is becoming a much longer live than I thought it would be. And doesn't that tell you how into the fluffy stuff I am, the woo-woo stuff, because I love talking about it. And the Tuesday tea time is just getting longer. So the thing that discovered about when I run into negative thoughts or fearful thoughts or doubtful thoughts is that there's a 17-second countdown that I do, because it only takes 17 seconds to change the direction or the momentum of the thought. So if I run into a thought like, oh my God, what if the borders never open? Or what if I could never get into, the US to be able to speak again in the US? If that thought comes up, then I would start to say, okay, that's it. I first identify it, then I go, okay, 17, 16, 15. So I count myself down. And by the time I'm down to zero, the thought has dissipated and I literally deliberately pick another thought that's much, much less worrying, more pleasing, and so on. In past Tuesday tea times, I've also shown you the focus wheel in times where I've had large debts to pay, like Logan goes to a private school, so there's like huge payment chunks during certain times of the year for his education, and he's going to go on to a private high school. It's going to be even bigger. And I am a single mom, so it's at times during the pandemic, it was absolutely a challenging time. So I think I showed you what I did was the focus wheel, which is you draw a wheel on an empty paper, and then you put the thought of what you want in the middle, and then around the wheel you put thoughts of positive thoughts that are approaching closer to what you actually ultimately want. And they have to be believable thoughts, and they're kind of like coaxing yourself and gently kind of luring yourself into back to thinking positive. So you guys, these are all tricks and trades of just the mindset work. It's just insane, the stuff that I've been doing this year and for the past 2 years, and it's working. Like I'm shocked that it's 75% growth. Like when my accountant told me that, I was like, or my bookkeeper, I was like, wow. So the other thing that I've learned about is something called segment intending, which is every time I'm going to have a call, or every time I'm going to get on into my car, every time I'm, doing something new or something that's potentially fraught with success or not succeeding, or fraught with some uncertainty, I always intend it to be and visualize it to be the way that I want it to. So, in the morning, I intend, okay, these are the calls that I have, and I intend to get this. And they kind of tell you to do this when you're a sales rep, and they say, okay, what's your intention? Or they even tell you, for entrepreneurs, if you're going networking, they tell you to figure out, okay, what is it that you want, and quantify it and solidify it in your mind, and then go in. So that's kind of like what I do, is segment intending for stuff that's coming up, and it's been working, thank God. Then the last one is, this is the most important part, is I've stopped the desperate striving, the desperation, and the crazy busy. The crazy busy, because I used to think, and I actually have quotes of myself saying, when the business slows down, you've got to hit the phones hard. And I now do the complete opposite. I hit the meditation mat hard, and I don't even have a meditation mat. I just do it in bed. But you get my drift. Is what I've learned is you change the mindset first, and you change how you're feeling. Because if you're feeling like a loser, and like you're feeling desperate, and you're feeling scared, you should not even pick up the phone or touch the computer to reach out to anyone, because that's not going to help you. But once you coax yourself through all of these mindset methods into feeling like a hope and success, and knowing what you want, and knowing that you can go out and get it, and you have the power in your hands, when you get to that level of vibrating of energy, then you should pick up the phone. Then no matter what you do, it's going to be okay. So that's what I've learned, you guys. And those are pretty much how I've created the growth in my company. By no means am I the biggest, company out there, but I live a very comfortable and happy life, and I work very few hours, and I love what I do, and I love my clients. So that's the life I want for you guys. And I'm going to keep on telling you and teaching you everything I know, so that you can have the life like me, the growth like me, and even better than me, if you don't already. All right, guys, this was a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. All the best.